Honestly, this Diddy saga is weirder by the day. It was already weird as hell. So, his alleged madam broke silence and is claiming Diddy's an informant. I, you know what? Nothing would surprise me these days. But let's just get right into it.
Nives Gadoni is the author of The International Madam, How a Woman Controlled a Worldwide Sex Ring. She used to work as an intern at Sony, but then started an
Crazy.
escort company, which led to her being introduced to Diddy and his parties. Everything seemed to be fine in that world until she claims Diddy's crew set her up to the feds, causing her 4 years in a New York State prison back in 2012 before being exiled back to Switzerland. She's here now to talk about it all.
God, really. With the exclusive.
Welcome to Popcorn Planet, the interview. So excited to have Nives here. Welcome to the show, Nives. How are you doing?
Hi, Andy. How are you? Thank you
She
for having
give
me.
off madam
I'm
vibes,
great. You got
dog.
some tea to spill here. I'm so excited to hear about it, guys. This is a wild story,
It might be the accent, but yeah, she totally gives off madam vibes.
and it puts a whole new perspective on this Diddy story. So I'm grateful for you being here. You're basically going to come in here and acknowledge the fact that Diddy's own team are informants with the feds, which implies that is Diddy himself an informant to the feds? Did they know all along? She's going to drop some serious
I could
evidence
totally
and
believe
tea
that.
here, guys, to sort of allude to all of this, which only creates so many more questions I have. But I'm so excited to get through this. So thank you for being here. I want to start with your background. I don't want to avoid that. So you were in the escort business. Can you sort of explain that to the crowd? Sometimes that is people would wag their finger at that. How did you do that? How did you get into that? How did you get away with that? Can you fill us in a bit?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Andy. So, I came in a nutshell. I arrived in the US from Switzerland when I was 20 years old. My original plan was actually selling watches in the Diamond District, which I have done in the beginning. But in the year 2008, there
Yeah, she's moving around in them circles, them elite circles.
was some financial problems in the United States, as we all know, was a little,
A
financial issues that
recession.
they had. So the company that I
It's crazy. She just totally downplayed a huge recession.
worked for went to Hong Kong, and I decided to stay. Now, with no income and only an internship where you don't really make money from, right? I set up an
$100 a week
escort
type shit.
service. What does that mean? It's beautiful, elegant, high-end ladies that go on dates with people that pay for that, for their time, right?
Companionship.
What they do with their own time is up to them, between two grown people. Obviously, all my ladies were
It's heavily assumed, obviously, that sex is involved, but yeah, I guess, yeah, they are paying for the companionship.
at least 21 years old, and they did that because they wanted to do that, and they were paid really well and had security. So got into that just to make a little bit as a side hustle, to make a little bit extra money. But it happened within like a year. I had 50 girls working for me internationally. And that went from Europe
Like
all over to
full-scale
the
operation.
States, to Africa, to the Middle East, to Asia as well. And these girls, I'm from Switzerland. I'm half Italian, half Swiss. And in Switzerland, prostitution is legal. So these girls that came actually to the States that I was flying in, they were there on a 3-month visa,
A work
regular
visa.
tourist visa, and they already knew how to work. And again, they did that on their free will, and made a bunch of money
Fam, I ain't no lawyer, but that sounds a hell of a lot like sex trafficking.
and left the States again. So that's kind of how all that started. And I got into that because my best friend, she was working in one of those escort services. I never did.
Like high-end
Obviously, no
escorts.
judgment. But I was really good in managing it, like setting up the times, make sure everyone is on time, kind of coach these girls a little bit how to be a lady, and how to keep it interesting, because looks is one thing, but as well, you have to be able to keep a conversation.
These rich people, if they wanted some like ditzy chick, they could just go to a strip club. Yeah, I feel like a lot of these people, they do want like conversations because these people are bringing them to like these events, and a lot of these escorts are highly educated, Princeton grads, Yale grads, that making a lot more money this way.
And entertain these gentlemen.
Yeah, no judgment. I just want the
very
background there because
smart.
I think also relevant based on some of the charges Diddy's facing. I want you guys to really know her background. And so through that work, that you were then also started an internship at Sony. You met D-Rock, which was Biggie's right-hand man at the time.
Right.
Crazy.
Also then connects you to Uncle Paulie, who was head of security, connects you through Diddy. And so that's where all these connections to Diddy and that team happened, yes?
Yes, exactly. So I met D-Rock just being out and being all at these places where he was as well. And he invited me
You
to
with the
some
movers and
events
shakers.
where I brought my friend with me, and my friend started dating Uncle Paulie at that time, which was the head of security. But that was back at that time. I don't know if he's still working there or not, but he was around for many, many, many years. I think he's pretty much well known in the industry.
She's spilling all the
And
beans.
so they started dating, and I started to form a friendship with him, more like a brother-sister friendship over the years. And that's kind of how we started doing business together. At first, obviously, he did not know about the girls or all my other businesses, because my goal was to be a manager or A&R in the music industry, setting up tours, anything like that. That's how I kind of, that was
Got in where
my
she fit
long-term
in.
goal. It was not to be a madam or run escort services. That was just a means to like survive in New York. As you know, it's very expensive there.
Yeah, without a doubt. And so you're
Yeah.
figuring that out. That's all happening, and that's when you get into the sort of the Diddy scene, the Diddy parties,
Right.
etc. We have to be careful on some of the keywords we say, but substances were
Yeah, all this is allegedly because he's a litigious person and he still got power.
then brought in, and that's when things and women. And then at a certain point, you were asked to bring in certain amount of substances more than you were comfortable with. Correct?
The drug mule
Right,
as
but
well.
that was through the through Uncle Paulie. That was not for the party. So there's a difference between the parties and the studio and
Parties.
so on. That was just small amounts. But then obviously for me, it was not even the interesting part. Like with those substances, it was more like for parties, favors, and for the clients, right? And then
Yep.
if someone asked me for it, I would just give it to them. It was not even about
Yeah, I don't think
making
it's
money. It's
just to
just more like
sell.
getting
Yeah,
favors for favors, right? That was more a little
Yes.
bit my way of dealing with it. And since
and you
that
never
they
show up
were
empty-handed.
taking a liking into that product, they asked me to just set up, or they just wanted to know who my connect was, right? Which I was not able to give out.
Oh, she's
And
smart.
then
10
since
crack
he did a lot of
commandments.
favors for me, I kind of felt obligated, being naive. At that time I was 24, obligated to set him up with a bigger amount, which that it kind of, was my big mistake.
The sketch.
So they ask you basically.
That sounds like such a Fed move, though. You know what I mean? Like a setup. Like, yo, you basically bringing for personal use for these parties. Now they're asking for weight out of nowhere.
To smuggle a huge amount of, like, they want you to now sort of help be a mule in a way and get some of these
No,
across.
you are a
Was it
mule,
Mexico?
allegedly.
Right. I mean, that was just the first question. Was really, really odd because we used to go to these poker parties up in Harlem, like private parties. And
Oh,
then
I've
he
heard
asked
some
me one night
things about
if
those parties, man.
something happened because he invested into
Them parties is crazy. That's like they said, the drugs, alcohol, shit. You could smash some of the chicks at these parties, That it's debaucherous.
something, if I could
Allegedly.
bring some drugs over the border. And I said, no, hell no, I'm not going to do that. I'm scared. And again, I'm a girl, right? I'm not like a street person or anything, especially at the time, but I just wanted to be down and be the person that
He's
they
trying to
could
get into
count
the
on, right?
business.
Because they have hooked me up with a lot of things in the industry, with parties, events, with people. So I felt obligated, right? But I declined that. So then a few months later, he asked me, look, I just need product because whoever we were dealing with, that person
They dry.
got caught up or something happened, right? And he's like, I just need that one favor from you. And it was not
That's another red flag. The homie, you guys probably all got caught up, and they're gonna look for you to hook them up with a bigger supplier, and then you're gonna take the fall as well.
he was not involving Puff at all, right? So that was just him and the friend of his that he introduced me to. But he said it was all together, like, how can I say, it's just his group, his affiliates, let's
Yep.
say. Right.
And so he does this, and you then eventually begrudgingly agree to do this smuggling run as a favor.
Right, but no, it was in New York, so I did not go over the border or anything. I just hooked him up with a
The
substantial
plug.
bigger amount. I was meeting his friend that he introduced me to on an Upper East Side restaurant, like a luxury place. And the second I went in there, he kind of made a comment of like, "Oh, I have the money," which was really loud for the fact that we
Uh,
were there like a little
he
bit,
was like basically, hey,
not to be
got the
out there.
money, you got
And
the stuff.
that second, the feds stormed the entire restaurant. They took me down into handcuffs. And
Yeah,
I
man, what
was
a
really,
setup.
again, very naive. I didn't know exactly what was happening. Why was that happening? This is a friend of his. So, and I didn't really understand as well the American system, right? How you can even set somebody up. Because as far as I know, it
She
doesn't
was
work like
naive.
that in any other country, especially not where I'm from. You can't just do a crime and then set somebody else up so they doing the time, you know? So I
Yeah,
didn't,
man. When the feds come on you, it's already guaranteed 98 something percent, whatever the number is. It's in the high 90 percentile of convictions. They're coming at you because they got you dead to rights, and these people will flip for like a lighter sentence. These people aren't gonna do. They're not trying to do any time. They'll flip.
I didn't understand that. But what fact is that that guy that said I have the money, if we both got arrested, as they claimed, he would have been my co-defendant, but he
He wasn't
wasn't because
there.
he was an undercover agent. Uncle Paulie never
Golly,
got arrested, right? So that means he collaborated with that undercover
fam. Come on, ma. His name is Uncle Paulie. But I digress.
agent from
Yeah.
the DEA.
Come on, mama.
Right. And after that, when things are kind of like, when I went to Rikers Island and now I understand what my charges are and so on and so on.
It does suck that they did take
They
advantage of
obviously
her.
wanted me to write out who was my connect and who are my clients from the escort service, right? And obviously I didn't talk to them about it. I did not give out any names. So I
Kept it
had to
solid.
figure out, okay, how can I kind of drop down my time a little bit in that sense, because I was looking at a pretty substantial amount of time. And the
Well,
good
that was
thing
gonna be
was
my question. Like,
Drug
what was the
trafficking.
sentencing exactly? How do you what are you didn't rat people out from what you've told us, and so you decided not to
Bro, she kept it solid more than like the whole YSL roster, dog.
do any of that, and you could have, but
Right.
you stood to your ground. How did you get away with a lessened sentence, and what was that process like?
Gotta be a
So
scary
what happened
situation,
is they made a
obviously.
mistake with the warrant that they have for my house,
Oof.
right? So in the beginning, I was charged with 12 counts of an A1 felony related to drugs, trafficking, and so on and so on.
Lucked out.
Obviously, sometimes mostly when they charge you, even the feds, they charge you with a lot of things, so something will stick to that because they were not
Yeah.
looking for me. They were looking for me to give up my connect. They were looking for me to give out the
Yeah, you're small
means, right?
fish.
So when they
Middlemaning.
went into my house, they had the wrong, I think, apartment number. So everything failed in that sense. They took all my money. So I didn't have money for a lawyer, but I had some money tucked away in Switzerland. So I was able to retain a lawyer, and those
Swiss
lawyers
bank
were
accounts.
actually able to clean out a little bit all the mistakes that the feds have done in that arrest, right? I decided not to talk, but obviously a lot of people were afraid of me to talk, and we are talking more about
Might
the
off you.
clients of the escort service. And that way there was some favors open, and I was able to get elected.
Oh, she had politicians under her thumb. Obviously, she's moving in these circles with these type of people. To think that she didn't have some type of people with this type of power that can like, you know what? Let's go easy on this whole thing. Yeah, of course.
Less the sentence, right? Because in the end of the day, it's all the same
They owe her
circles
some
that we're running
favors.
in.
Exactly.
So from the 8 years they offered me, it went down to 4 years. And because it was a nonviolent crime, I was
75%.
able to do 2 years in prison and then get deported and just get a 25-year, I can't come back to the States for 25 years. That's like how kind of the deal was, you know.
So you're paying the price. You clearly made some mistakes. You took the time. You're doing it. Kudos to you for doing that. Some of these a lot of people are always trying to get away with actually doing any of that stuff. So
2
you've done
years
that.
for,
But I just want to
not
focus on
bad.
that again because as I hear your story, it's just terrifying the prospects of what that means. It implies then, because I'm with you, how does Diddy's right hand man not know that he's an informant for the feds right out the gate, right? And threw you under the bus to get it. Why are they trying to get your person? Are the feds covering up for Diddy? Are the feds working with Diddy to wipe out the competition because you're bringing some small party favors to a party? Are they trying to?
it makes sense. Kind of like in the Departed, you kind of have to have your like controlled opposition, like somebody there, like the Whitey Bulger character, where it's like he's an informant the whole time, and they let him do business, just on the basis that he gives up people around him. You know, it's crazy, but yeah, it's plausible.
Bring their own in. There's a lot of questions in my head then goes
You
to
need
him.
answers, you
Why
go to him.
were the feds coming after you and not them? I mean, are these questions
They want a
valid? Do
lot
you
of
have these
people.
questions too?
Yeah. No, and again, I have talked to different people. One of my really good friends is Gene Deal, as he
Yep.
has been very big on this whole P. Diddy situation, has been talking about it for years. And he has told me that, look, in the streets, it's known that Uncle Paulie has been a rat. And the reason was because when all that stuff happened with the BMF, right? We go back to the Black Mafia family, which the drug ring has supported all the businesses of the music industry, right? Somehow Puff was probably involved as well, not maybe personally, but the crew around him. And a lot of people got arrested in year 2005 and 2006, but some people never got arrested, even they were very deep involved in it, right? And those people probably have to
It's
now work
fishy.
as a confidential informant. I'm not saying that is exactly how it went down. That's just like how it makes sense, and how it has been talked about for many, many years. Because in the end of the day, if you decide to be a confidential informant, you will have to work for them
For
for a
life.
very long time.
Like for life, they got
And
you.
they're going to keep reuse you, and they're going to keep and they're going to pay you as well, right? But in the end of the day, the way I saw Uncle Paulie, he was big in this.
The biggest thing is that you're free, fam. Yeah, what they're paying you in terms of value versus your freedom. Freedom is it's priceless.
Streets, he was a gangster, quote unquote, right? I mean,
Uncle
he's known
Paulie, come
everywhere. He
on.
was a big guy with a big crew, and I never thought that he would be working with the feds, right? But that's just how it is. Again, I mean, there's no other way around it, or that I misunderstood, or a mishap happened. No,
Nah, they
because he would
set
have
her
been
up.
locked up as well if he would not have been working with the feds.
I guess I have so many questions, and we're going to talk about a lot more. But in this installment here, what do you think Diddy is also an informant for the feds? Before we even get to the recent allegations, the raids, based on your experience and what you went through, is that a possibility?
I personally think yes. That's just my opinion. That's not a fact. But I
It's
think yes.
like a gut feeling for her.
With all the things
Fascinating.
he got away with so many things over the years. I mean, yeah, and he has a lot of power, right? And he bought a media company, so he has just, he has these
He's helped with presidential campaigns.
videos of all these influential people, as we heard,
Oh,
right? Which is
I'm going to stop you there because I want to get into that. I want to get into the raids. I want to get into
That stuff is
Nevez's
crazy
thoughts and all
too.
this, but this
I have
is
a
all
lot
too
of theories
juicy to
on
put
that.
into one. Sorry, guys. You're going to have to come back for part 2. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Hit.
Yeah, dope video, Popcorn Planet. But yeah, I guess they don't have nothing concrete. I've heard a lot of rumors about him being an informant. I mean, he's from what it looks like, he's gotten away with a lot of stuff throughout the years. The dude is connected. It wouldn't surprise me to want to have him as an asset when you are around all these people rubbing shoulders with like the elite, you know? But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you guys think he's a Fed? Let me know in the comments, like and subscribe, and thank you guys for watching. This saga is weird as hell. We'll see where it's gonna take us.